welcome and thank you for joining CivilNet. My guest today at the studios is the Provost of the American University of Armenia, Dr. Randall Rhodes. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
This year is an exciting year for the American University, given it's the 25th anniversary of its establishment.
That's right.
Yes, and 25 years for an educational institution, that's not a long time. However, I would ask you, in your assessment, you've come a long way. Having only postgraduate degrees, now you have undergraduate degrees and opening new departments every week. That's an exaggeration, but every year. So what's the evaluation of the past 25 years?
Well, as you said, we've come a long way. There were years in the 90s when things were very difficult in Armenia, and we needed to develop a very strong donor base, but eventually we were able to stabilize our programs, grow our facilities, add more programs, especially with the undergrad programs that started just a few years ago, and that has helped tremendously in trying to build the strong foundation for our future. I have been shepherding our strategic planning process. And one of my tasks this first year here at AUA was to help the institution develop institutional goals as well as objectives and try to devise various tactics to reach those. So it's a very good process of looking backward at the past 25 years and planning for the next 5, 10, 15 years. Where do we want to be? What should be our vision statements? What do we aspire to be? So we had a very long process where we looked at various mission statements and vision statements that are published by various institutions in the United States and Europe. And we had to figure out what is our role, not just in Armenia, but in the region, and what impact can we have internationally. So it was a very good process. We engaged all of our stakeholders, students as well as faculty, staff, alumni, also some donors were also able to contribute. And we also had one of our research centers, the Tapanjian Center for Policy Analysis, go out into the community and conduct focus groups with high school administrators, high school parents, prospective students, in order to assess where is AUA in terms of its local community, where does it hope to go, how can we better meet the needs of these various demographics. So we have now a draft of our institutional plan. And next week, during our 25th anniversary, we are going to share it with our Board of Trustees. They're going to evaluate it. And then over the summer, we'll devise tactics in order to move forward and start accomplishing some of those strategies.
And what are some of the goals for the next 5, 10, 15 years?
Well, as you
AUA?
said, we're starting to look at the addition of more programs. One of the comments we continually got from various stakeholders is that we only have 3 undergraduate majors. And quite often, students locally, they want to come to AUA because AUA is their #1 desired higher education option, but we actually didn't have the major they wanted. So do you come to AUA and take something you're really not enthused about just for the AUA experience, or do you go to another university? So we must respond to that market need, and right now we're assessing various undergrad programs and deciding which ones we could implement, maybe not by fall 2017, but definitely by fall 2018. We can have some undergrad programs. We're also looking at adding more masters, and maybe down the line, it's also in the strategic plan, adding a doctoral program or 2. So program growth is probably our very top priority, the thing we need to assess most. The resource, the implications, the support of our Board of Trustees, what will meet workforce needs within Armenia, the industries, our advisory boards locally, how can we align our curricular programs to meet industry needs locally, because one of our main objectives is to help grow the economy of Armenia and have a great impact on Armenia. So it's about providing students the skills, not just for the workforce, but the workforce 4 years from now when they graduate, and help them grow businesses to help Armenia grow. So it's not helping them assimilate into the current work market, but the market of the future. And again, through entrepreneurship, through incubating various ideas, try to contribute and grow Armenia socially, politically, and economically.
So AUA is well known for its political science program, its business program. And what are the new programs that you're hoping to establish? I would be curious.
Well, we're thinking of, you mentioned political science. We need more social sciences, especially on the undergrad level. Because right now, our undergrad programs are the business, English communications, and the third one is CS, computational sciences, computer science. So one of the voids, and it appears it will be a growing demand from the current high schoolers. There was increased interest in social sciences, whether it's psychology, sociology, or political science on the undergrad level. So we're looking at various options, various ways to package that efficiently and maximize the faculty and resources we currently have at AUA. So that's one possible direction. Another possible direction would be to grow our STEM offerings, the science, technology, mathematics, engineering. So whether we move into some interdisciplinary engineering science program, or whether we look at something maximizing our very strong program in mathematics and mathematical modeling, if we move into some bioinformatics or some sort of informatic analysis that can be applied to various STEM sectors. So on the undergrad level, that's pretty much where we're focused now as we're conducting feasibility studies and market research. And then on the graduate level, we'll eventually look at maybe interdisciplinary master's programs, master's programs to meet the needs of high school teachers here in Armenia.
Sorry, when assessing this, you take into consideration the high schoolers' wishes as to they would wish to come to AUA.
That's one part of it, and also we consult with people in industry, public and private sector, and see where they have the vision of Armenia in the future. Also, especially in the IT industry, there's a deficit in the number of college graduates who can meet industry needs, not just on the computer science end, but also the management of those tech industries. So we have to continually have the conversation in order to find the right path and the right curriculum so our students have those skill sets.
I don't think I'll be wrong if I said AUA is one of the fastest growing institutions in Armenia. How do you sustain this growth?
Well, starting
it's physically, I know
that is the big issue. So in preparation for our 4th cohort of undergraduates, so starting in fall 16, we will be maxed out. And based on various models that we have run, many of our classrooms will be used over 90% of the time. Right now, we do not have science labs. So in terms of much of the program growth that I mentioned, our facilities don't give us the capacity we need. So until our facilities grow, and we do own some plots of land, and we are negotiating with people who may be able to help us financially in new construction. Until any of that happens, we will be, to say, stuck at that 2,000, 2,100 student level. According to the Ministry of Education and Science, your maximum enrollment is determined by your square meters. So unless the building expands overnight or we add a couple floors, there will be a limit on how many additional students we can take into our programs. So it'll give us a little breathing time. And if we add some of the undergraduate or master's programs we mentioned before, maybe we will readjust the numbers. Maybe one program will become a little more selective and with a smaller pool of students in order to give us more space to accommodate a new cohort trying something new, some sort of pilot project.
One of the things that I found very exciting about what AUA did recently is to give all this help to students from Syria. I think it's not only Syrian Armenians,
Right.
as well as. And how did that project come about, and how is it continuing as far as them feeling at home or being at ease with the programs and the general ambiance?
If we look at the data starting from the Syrian civil war to now, we have helped thousands of Syrian students. There are two venues. Some come to AUA Extension, where they take courses to improve their English language proficiency. And as Syrian refugees, there is a tuition discount. We have additional funding sources specifically dedicated to Syrian students. So therefore, they get a lot of tuition assistance, which many of them could not attend AUA, even our AUA extension, if they didn't have that financial support. So hundreds of courses have been completed, and even over the last few years, we have graduated at least 15, 20 Syrian students from our master's degree programs. So that's been very successful because you actually see a difference. Many of the students in their testimonials, because they're phenomenal students, they get awards, so their testimonials and their news releases, and they say without the opportunity of having a place not only to continue their education, but a place that was safe, a place that was respectful, that they were able to achieve the peace of mind necessary to continue their studies.
And I sometimes wonder if there are foreign students coming to AUA to study from other countries, because let's say the American University of Beirut is famous for attracting students from all over the region.
Starting this fall, we're going to have our first Chinese student. We established with a China High organization in China that they would help sponsor a scholarship, that they would market AUA in China, and applicants would send us their materials, we review it, and we identify the student to get that scholarship. So they help pay for the students' living expenses, their airline ticket, any other fees that they incur on a day-to-day basis. And obviously, we would assess their materials, and they would be eligible to qualify for an international scholarship that would bring the price of their tuition down. So we're starting to have a similar type of initiative with Bangladesh, because there's another Armenian community there. And we have trips every year to the United States where we do active recruiting of high schoolers, not just degree-seeking students, but students coming for just 1 year or students coming for a summer program. So we're trying a lot of different initiatives. We hope to expand our contacts in Lebanon, in Iran, in Russia, because those seem to be promising areas where we can advertise programs that are different, distinctive from what they have in their home countries. And obviously, Yerevan provides a completely different experience from what they have in their home countries. We're trying to sell Armenia as a gateway country. From the old CIS, the old Soviet Union. Some people want to, especially in political policy, political analysis, still see the remains of the Soviet Union and how that has impacted the socio and economic fabric of countries such as Armenia. We're also on the gateway of the Middle East. We're We're also on the gateway of Iran, which will probably blossom in the next couple years with a change of the international political situation. So we feel that geographically we were very well positioned to offer potential international students a variety of perspectives.
I was very surprised to learn that AUA was the concept of establishing an American university. So it came right after the 1988 earthquake at a time of crisis. And it was established relatively in a short time. So within this context, what are the current challenges?
Our current challenge is mostly, as we said, the space issue, the capacity issue. We're very ambitious. We know there is a need to produce more graduates for the marketplace. We know we have to add more programs. It simply is the capacity issue of the square meters, of the space of the buildings. So we know what we need to do, but it'll take us a while to get there because there's so many other steps on the way. Other things we're continually working on is helping AUA get a larger international profile. As we mentioned with international students, even as we go to the United States, we need to be more effective in telling our story internationally. It appears many people, even within the Armenian community, are not as familiar with our academic programs, our research agenda, and not only how we can help Armenians here, but Armenians around the world with various research opportunities and collaborative agreements. So that is a challenge, working better to tell our story around the world and generate more interest. We also need, one of our strategic priorities is going to be to attract more international faculty to AUA. AUA is very cost conscious. We have a very tight budget. We do a tremendous amount with what we have. And it is necessary to invest more broadly in order to get more international faculty, not just for diversity in terms of perspectives within the discipline, but that's what our students want. When this past semester was the first semester I taught at AUA, so I had the experience of working with students, and it's interesting how they compare with American students of the same age. But one point was they want more foreign international faculty, whether it's on short-term stints or whether it's long-term, tenure track, full-time professors. They want more international faculty to bring the global perspective.
Yeah. What are the other differences, I wonder?
I enjoy teaching them. I had taught over 20 years in the United States before coming here. And from the very first day, I saw a tremendous difference between American students. I was in the state of Maryland for 19 years previously at a state university there versus AUA students. First of all, AUA students can write English. Their writing skills as freshmen are better than what I saw from Maryland students. I was surprised at that.
That is surprising.
Also, their verbal skills are phenomenal. And their ability to problem solve and think critically. From the very first lecture that I gave, immediately they're asking questions. They're able to synthesize the information I'm giving them and come to their own conclusions. And to see it happen on the very first day of a semester, the course was art appreciation because I have a PhD in art history. They immediately were active participants in the class. And that was a refreshing change from what I'm used to. They are very ambitious. They study very hard. So in all those ways, it was a refreshing change. So I have to give kudos to Armenian education because obviously K through 12 here is fantastic. I know it's constantly evolving, constantly progressing. But what I've seen at AUA, the students are top-notch. And even as freshmen, they're internationally competitive. Their English skills are phenomenal, fantastic. But again, in the conversations with the students, they want the American environment. They want that freedom of speech. They want that interactivity within that classroom. They want that rapport with the instructor. They don't just want a dead lecture. They want that give and take, and they want the feedback in their assignments. They want that continual discussion, that continual conversation that is a part of a more Socratic type of educational system.
Which may be something that's lacking in Armenian educational institutions in general, that rapport with the professor, the freedom to express yourself in the classroom.
Right, right. So they're very appreciative of that. They're very appreciative of someone who comes from abroad who shows an interest in investing emotionally, professionally in Armenia. So we had some funny conversations when I would say, oh, yeah, explain this to me about Armenians. And then I say, well, what do you think of Americans? So it was a very good conversation. And because I have a tendency to do a little, because I'm from New York State, so I have a tendency to have a little sarcasm and a little irony and a little humor in the class, I was wondering how that would translate. But I did the exact same routine, the exact same language. I didn't slow it down. I didn't change the vocabulary. And they got every bit of irony. They got every bit of satire. They got every little bit and piece perfectly. So I was extremely impressed. But over the years, AUA has become much more selective in its admissions process. As our applicant pools get larger, and as I said, we cannot grow the total number of students entering in any freshman cohort, we have to get more and more selective. So therefore, you know, not everyone who applies can get in, and it's a diminishing acceptance rate, and we get better and better each year as a result of this. And also with a growing number of private and high-achieving high schools in Armenia who are offering various forms of baccalaureate programs on the high school level, we are assured that we'll have continuing classes of high-achieving, excellent students.
Well, I wish you best of luck for the next 25 years to come.
Thank you very much, and thank you on behalf of AUA. Thank you.